Oh my god.
Right, maybe this will be the last episode. I don't know. Let's see how it goes. I've just dragged the interior out. This needs a good clean. So while it's actually quite warm outside, be a good one to do. Back seat, lovely condition. Passenger seat, not too bad. You know, it started to come apart a little bit here, but you know, we're going for the patina look. Driver seat looks like it's been eaten by a bear. So yeah, I mean, this has come off. Don't know what I'm gonna do about that. That's a big old hole, but it's all torn here. But at the end of the day, we're going for the patina look. So why shouldn't the interior look like patina? Two, I mean, there is a nice set on eBay at the moment. They're like $3.5 grand. I can't justify that. So we will just make do with what we've got. Maybe we'll put a nice interior in and paint the Range Rover in the future. But for now, this will have to do. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna hoover the whole thing. And then I've got a lovely bottle here of some interior soap. And it's mixed with some really hot water. So we'll spray that all over it and we'll hoover it off with this wet vac that I've borrowed. So we will come back in a minute and we will see how it looks. Well, they just came out. Great. The hoover like sucks half the material off because it's very brittle. Really brittle actually. So we will probably stick some seat covers over this until I can afford to replace them, but I give it, you know, I did give it a really good hoover and a good wet back, so it's come up a bit better. The rear seat's in really nice condition actually. Looking at it, oh, yeah, so that came out quite nice. Nice bit of patina on the back. Just in the middle at the moment, just doing the wiring for the rear lights, because I was really frustrated. I just ripped everything out and didn't label anything. This side's all new. Yeah, I just got to work it all out now. So that's going to be probably the rest of my day just dealing with that. I'll be honest, I just need to learn when to stop doing stuff like this. So for the life of me, cannot work out what's going on with this wiring loom. I thought I'd labelled it correctly when I sort of did it. I obviously haven't. Nothing is working correctly. It's very bizarre. I don't know why. I mean, if we get the indicator working, then when I put the reverse lights on, the reverse lights make the indicator stop and the indicator goes on, but then it'll work as a reverse. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so I probably messed it up somehow. But also looking at this harness, we've also got a lot of stuff that I never touched. That you can see here that was never labelled, just loose. It used to have a tow bar, which has been removed. And I think the easiest way to go about this, if I'm being completely honest, is just to remove the whole wiring loom. Bit of a faff, take it out, because I've just seen you can buy one online for less than £100 for a whole rear loom. So I think we'll just do that. Moving on, so just got a new wiper motor, that's just come. We got that from Tim Hammond, absolute legend. So we've connected that up, just put a temporary battery on. Let's reach in there. See what we got. This is, oh, no. Oh, there we go. 2 speeds. Has it only got a 2-speed, is it? Not got intermittent? Apparently not. Okay, maybe they don't have an intermittent on this one. There we go. So that was our problem the whole time. Brilliant. So we can chuck that one that looks newer and nicer in the bin, and we can install that. Also, I did free off the spindles. I don't know if I already said that, but that's good now. Both of those are good. So let's put that back in again, put the deck lid back on and put the bonnet on. That's the front end done. And then we've also got, so it's not running again. It's not running again. It stopped running, and I thought it was going to be something to do with this hand primer pump down here, because it leaked a bit every time you sort of pumped. So I guessed it was probably losing a bit of pressure because it's a diesel related problem. However, I've come in today and it stinks of diesel. And it is wet down there of diesel, and if you can see this, let's try and zoom in, this, which is what goes into the bottom of the hand primer pump, is wet all around it. So I'm guessing either the seal on the hand primer is leaking, or this hose is split, or this, you know, these are all new hoses. Might just replace that with a different hose clip. However, we have got, if anybody ever needs one of these, brand new hand primer pump for this engine, and it looks like it just screws in. Sorry, why is it not focusing? Yeah, there we go. Just screws in there. Might need a seal, not sure. But we'll be putting that in anyway. It was only £22. If anybody needs it, this is the part number. They're on eBay. There you go. You should be able to get that anywhere. It was 22 quid next day. We've also, that was the wiper motor over there. That is the new wiring loom, and we'll be putting that in later. Fixed. Thank God for that. You, my little friend, turns out was the wrong wiper motor. Hang on, let me just turn that off and I'll explain why that was the wrong wiper motor. So you can see here, these bolts, one there, and there's one up there. These bolts were in these holes here, which is where the wiper motor bolts to. These are not in the right arrangement, which is why I've now put those bolts in those 3 holes. So someone's re-drilled that for this to make it fit, which is very weird. It's got the right plug on it. So it must be a Land Rover one. But yeah, we'll file that under dead. Right, so now that's done, we can stick the deck panel back in and put the deck panel in, and then we can put the bonnet back on. That's the front end done. Well, aesthetically it's done. Then we can replace, let's move that over there. We can replace this, which is the starter relay. Let's take that battery off actually before we mess around with anything. It's the wrong battery, that's out of like a new Range Rover, just because the other one's on charge. If you remember, this terminal is broken, so we need to replace that terminal and replace that. It shouldn't take too long. Once we've done that, then we can sort this diesel leak out down here, which I think is probably the pipe that's the problem, although this is knackered as well, so we'll just replace it, bleed the system again. She should be good as gold. And then we will put that new wiring loom in. We'll just take that cover off, that A-pillar cover. It's just on there temporarily because the connector's behind that, and that's all those wires you can see up there. Run all the way along there, down there, does that light, the fuel sender, runs across. Would have been really easy to get to before I put a floor in. So I wish I'd done that before, but I didn't realise I was going to replace it at that time. Then we can put the lower bits of the dashboard in. Then we put the seats in. Bleed the brakes, and pretty much done then. Carpet should be here probably early next week. It's been 6-7 weeks. That's really what slowed it down. That's why I've not really been rushing. But let's put the front end together and we'll come back in a minute. Right, we're getting somewhere now. So the wiper motor is in. The scuttle panel is back on again. We have done a few bits under here. I just want to tick everything off under the bonnet pretty much. New starter relay in. Here's the old one. You can see just in the middle there, that snapped pin. So that was the problem. Brilliant. I'm pretty sure the reason that we didn't have a start was because one of two things. Either, God, this focusing camera. Either this was losing pressure, this little, the manual pump there, the prime pump, because it was actually quite wet underneath it. Or B, it hadn't got all the air out of the pump and then it just drained back a little bit. This was a little bit damp underneath the sedimenter, so I've just made sure that's all nice and tight. The filter itself, that's all good as well. I've had that apart, greased all the seals, so we know that's good. I've ran it, and it's been good as gold. Here's the old hand pump, very simple to replace. Just using the adjustable spanner, and just cracked it loose and it wound out. But that was knackered as well. Every time you pumped this, diesel would come up through the middle of it past the seals, so it's no good. For 22 quid, we've got the exact same one in there. Had to remove this oil pipe here, you can see here. And it's just a few bolts. I put new, as you can see here, replaced all the copper washers on it, which is good. So now I've bled the whole system through. Only took, funnily enough, only took about a minute to do compared to 2.5 days. So fingers crossed. There we go. On the button, that rattle is the exhaust that's hanging off the back. So next thing we've got to do is, it's a Friday night, so I could have gone to the pub, but I'm down here working on this. Got a new plates turned up in the post. Nice pressed steel plates, completely road legal. I just think they look better than just the standard plastic ones. I know this could have had black and silver on it if I wanted to, but I decided to go against that. These are only 18 quid delivered. Brilliant. This is our new rear wiring loom. Hopefully it's the correct one. Looks like it based on that connector. And that will fix all of these problems here. I mean, when I connected some of the lights up, I had wires melting, so something must be wrong there. And we've got all this, which I think might be to do with the fog lights that were put in by Barry. I'm not 100% sure. So that connector that I showed you is this connector here. So this then runs all the way up here, whatever that is, up through there, all the way along in here, and then it drops down from there, feeds the rear light this side and the fuel sender, runs all the way across the back cross member, and then pops out here and feeds this light here. So I think we're going to rip that down. I don't know if I've got to take the whole headliner down, or if I can just crack the screws around the edges of it, drop the grab handles down, do it that way. We shall see. We do need to replace, while we're at it, the interior light is knackered. And I have got a really nice one that I took out of that 78 one, so we'll probably replace that at the same time. But let's just see where we get to. Right, it's out. That was a complete faff. So I took the whole headlining out. It must be a really early headlining because it's almost like made out of cardboard. You can see that it's just falling apart. That'll just get glued back up again. We're not going to replace that. But yeah, really just like you can squeeze it. I took one out of one the other day and it was complete fiberglass, so must be a really early one. So yep, so we disconnected it even, sorry. These cables here, I believe, are for the fog lights because it's got later rear lamps in it. We're not putting fog lights back in it again. I just really can't be bothered, so we'll probably take that switch out as well, which I think is the fog light switch. So yeah, so it connected here. So you've got one connector and then this little one here, and that went up through here and along the A-pillar. So if you take this vent out, you can slide the connector, if you can see there's a little slot here. I'll stick my finger through, and you can basically just wiggle it around through there and it just pops out. Saves you taking the dashboard out, and that runs all the way along there and down the back and through. So here's what we got. So starting up at the front, as you can see, this is the connector with the one extra wire, runs all the way along. Then we've got a blanked off thingy there for some reason, but that's the same on the new one. And then we got, this is the interior light. I just cut them off because we're replacing that anyway. And then working further towards the back, we've got these two. No idea what these do. They're not connected to anything. And I think we've got that on the other one as well. Then it comes back to here. So this is the passenger rear light cluster. I mean, you can see why I'm replacing it. It's just, I did my best to relabel everything and put new wires on, but you know, it's not worth it. Then it moves further along here, and we have, this is the fuel sender. So that'll be for the fuel level gauge. So I have a, don't know what the hell they do, what each one does, but so be it. And then coming off of here, this is the this is the number plate lights. So hopefully we've got that on the other one. And then that stretched all the way across the rear cross member to that there. So looking at that, that looks exactly the same as our new one, which is here. So let's get on and start. So everything is in. Everything should be working now. That's the new harness there. Took quite a while to work it all out. I've had to actually crack out the old Haynes manual here, but managed to work out where everything went and got everything working. So these are later lights. They're not the correct lights for a suffix A. They have got the fog lights, which we are not using because I bought a harness one without fog lights, which means I'm going to strip out the relay out the dashboard there, or I might just take the wires out of it. But let me set this up on a tripod and then we'll just sequence through all the lights, check they're all working. Right. So we should have, let's put the ignition on. Let's start with side lights. Should have side lights. Let's try hazards. There we go. Let's try reverse. Should be that one. And then let's try brakes. Should have everything. Let me come around and check. Yep, side light, reverse light, indicator. Take that out, actually, we're not using that fog light. There we go. I've got a new screw set as well, so we can put the lenses on. but we have everything working. So yeah, that's a fantastic, I really like that. The only thing I've got left to do is to sort out this, which is, oh, pardon me. This is the number plate light, so I need to earth that and then run the cable along the back of the cross member and up the tailgate, which will be a bit of fun. But yeah, I mean, all we really got to do is start bolting it together. Right, just installed the rear tail light lenses and gaskets. I reused the old gaskets, but I'm going to replace those at some point. I just didn't want it to hold me up any longer. So I've used new screws. You can buy these on eBay. I bought a pack. I'll show you them actually. I think there's enough to do the fronts as well, but obviously I've changed the fronts. There you go. Come with the fibre washers as well, correct machine thread. Yeah, look really nice. I'm really happy with those actually. It really freshens the back end of the car up. And the big thing I want it to do is to show it's been a maintained car, not a pristine car. So little things like new screws and, you know, cleaned up lenses and stuff like that really will give it that appearance. So yeah, pretty happy with those. So the next thing we're going to do, I think, is... Oh, I also put in the kick panels as well. As you can see down there. I'm not sure if I put them in the right way. I just drilled a couple of holes in the little recessed bits and then just self-tapped straight through them, but they're in there nice and solid. Someone will probably tell me I've done that completely wrong. Let's turn all that off actually, 2 seconds. Yeah, so the next thing I think we'll do is we'll put the seat brackets in for the back seats. Then we'll clean the headlining and reinstall the headlining. As you can see, it's very nice and rust-free up there, which is always nice to see. Put the headlining in, then the seats, and then we've got to get the bonnet back on again as well. Yeah, let's just keep pushing on. She's outside and she's running. As you saw, my lovely dad came and T-cutted the whole driver's side of the Range Rover. Needs going over again, but gives it the finish I was looking for. Obviously the whole thing needs a really good clean. Funny enough, when you're outside you can't see the difference between the tailgate that much. Still need to do this side, still need to do number plate lights, still need to do number plates, still need to do rear bumper. Interior is in. No carpets yet. Exmoor trim if you're watching. Get me my carpets. It's been 7 weeks. But yeah, we're getting there. Headlining's in. Got to put the interior light in. C-pillar covers. The headlining is knackered. It's made out of like tissue paper. But yeah, she's coming along really well. Just sitting here idling away. Gonna take a little spin down the farm track. Looks like we've got some temperature coming up now. Yeah, it's just going to be pushed forward just until we finish it now. But yeah, really, really happy. Right, let's get all of the grime off the roof, off the side, off the window seals, everything. Let's just give it a good blast, get the paint done, then we're nearly there. Right, so it still looks awful, but that's just because of the light in here. Everything's been T-cutted. Actually, when it's out in the daylight, it looks pretty good. Obviously, those lights just pick up every problem with the paintwork, but it looks a lot darker when it's out in natural light. Pretty happy with how that's coming out. What I'm in the process of doing right now is the window seal. So I've cleaned it, and I know a lot of you all turn around and go, just put a new window seal in. I will put a new window seal in. But the reason I'm not at the moment is because the dash needs to come out in the future, because we have got rust in this corner under the dashboard, and I want to replace this whole A-pillar at some point, because I only partially replaced it, but I'd rather do the whole thing. But I want to enjoy it for the summer. Everything works, it's running and driving. So I'd rather just, you know, make it functional and presentable, and I'll put a new seal in when I take the dash out over the winter, and replace all those bits that need doing. So what we've done is we're using some low adhesive tape, so this shouldn't peel the paint off underneath, which it's not doing, which is good. It's frog tape, and what we've done is we've masked where the seal should be sitting. You can see how much it's shrunk and how knackered it all is. Pretty awful. You can see where it's, you know, it's been silicone before. I peeled all the old silicone off, and I've masked it. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this stuff over here, which is, there we go, roof and gutter sealant for outdoor use in black. And I've used this before, and it's pretty good. So it shouldn't shrink and it shouldn't fade. And what we will do is we're going to go around all the seals on the side of this window, fill in around here, fill in this gap here, all the way along here, and bridge this gap all the way along here. I don't know how it's going to look. It's just some sort of idea that I've had. And I'll also just, you know, just tidy these up. I'm going to replace all the seals at some point. They're all going to get replaced. It's just money and time, and it's the summer. So hopefully it's not going to be a rainy summer, but it should be okay. So, right, I will come back in a minute once we've done that, and we'll see what it looks like. Right, so that's the window all sealed back in. It's not perfect, I know, but do you know what? It's going to do the job. And when you step back, you really can't notice it. It's not even dry yet, so it should dry a little bit better. But yeah, I used the wrong stuff. This stuff, wherever it was, absolute crap. I picked up the wrong stuff. This is like, doesn't even go off. It's like some sort of weird, gritty, horrible stuff. So I used this black Obi one, which is good. It's also an adhesive, so it will stick. It's like formed to the rubber. I know it's not the best job, but I'm pretty happy with that. And obviously fills it in. Also just smeared a little bit just along that big old crack there. Just makes it a little bit less neglected. But it's all running now as well. It's all on the key, so I'm pretty happy with that. Got everything working. Still need the carpets, another 2 or 3 weeks away. Should have a fuel gauge working as well now. Yeah, there we go, she's going up. Should be on the button as well. There we go. Got the nice number plate on as well. Number plate lights. Pretty happy with how it's coming along. Yeah, really happy with it actually. I know the paint needs another cut back as well, try and get it a little bit darker. But it looks a lot better off camera. The camera's really picking it up and making it look quite bad. But yeah, no, pretty happy with that. So next thing we're going to be doing is turning this off actually. I'll turn you off. There we go. Next thing we're going to do, I've got coming from Famous 4, it should be at home for me now, is I couldn't bear to deal with these things. They just looked so, they're just knackered. There's no amount of silicone in it that's going to fix them. So we've got new rubbers of these for the wiper spindles, and we've got some new wiper blades coming and bits and pieces. Got a new washer pump, all that sort of stuff. So yep, I will be back tomorrow. It's the next morning. It's come out better than I thought it was going to be honest with you. Looks pretty presentable. Got some new bits here from Famous 4, not sponsored, I might add. Just bits that I need. So these are like door trim clips. These are the tread plates for like the sill panels to hold the retaining strip in. That's a tool anti-rattle thing. These are the wiper spindle covers. We'll put them on in a minute. And these are the side loading pin wipers. So we'll put those on. There we go. Wipers, spindles, arms. These really nice seals all on. So the wipers all work. I think there's a little bit of slop in the actual wiper assembly, because it doesn't matter how much I adjust them, they seem to still want to rest on the seal. There we go. Lovely, very happy with that. Next thing we're going to do is tackle the rear bumper. So the rear bumper is over here. Now, we did make a start on this. Well, Josh made a start on this. We got pretty far with the wire wheel. And as soon as we started seeing that it wasn't going to be straightforward, there was holes in it and stuff, we sort of just backed off it for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish wire wheeling that back. So just get these layers of paint off. It's quite a few layers, as you can see. Looks like maybe black, then silver, then red oxide, then black. So we'll take all that off. Then we'll cut out any of the rust, like here and here. And we'll let some new metal in, put a little bit of filler on it, and then we'll spray it. Hopefully, we've still got some of the paint that we used on the front, and then they'll match. And that'll be the Range Rover. Right, here we go. So this was well worth doing. Yeah, it's not a very good bumper, if I'm being honest with you. You can see all the holes, the whole length of it there. It must have sat off of the car at some point and filled with water, because the inside of it is absolutely knackered. I mean, you can see some of the stuff that came out of it. So we're just going to rust treat the inside and then just stone chip it or something. The outside, any of the small ones like this, we'll just fill with some weld. Anything larger like this, we will just put a plate in. So I think we will try and do it flush, but if it starts compromising the shape or the contours, I don't want this to take all day, because I'd like to do that, because it's really the last thing that's going to stop this from driving. So I might just plate from the underside and then fill over the top, but I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. We'll start cutting it out and we'll go from there. Right, so we've made a bit of progress. She's nearly done, guys. She's nearly done. That needs painting. That's the tow bar bracket. So we've got a radio installed. I know some of you will all go, that doesn't look very period, but I think it does. And it was only £14 brand new, and it's got Bluetooth. I just really wanted it to fill the gap. And again, just a cheap set of speakers. I'm probably going to take them off again and just paint these black so you can't see any of the text on them. But it does exactly what you want it to do. You know, it looks rather retro. It's wired to the ignition, so pretty happy with that. And obviously I've put them in the back as well there. So we have got a delivery from Exmoor Trim. Now I don't know if they've sent everything, because I know they're still struggling with some stuff. And I believe they've sent what they've got. I mean, well, I think we're about 12 weeks in now, but look at the colour. Doesn't that look lovely? So let's unbox this. So we've got 4 boxes here to unbox. Let's unbox it and we'll see what we got. Right, we've got everything. Absolutely everything. And I've just realised it's got a cutout for an ashtray. And I've actually got an ashtray, so we can put that in and cover that hole up. It's got everything. It all came in a very nice Exmoor Trim, wherever it is, bag, which I'll probably use as a seat cover, actually, to be honest with you. Yeah, so we've got the carpets, we've got the load carpet, we've got the spare wheel cover. We haven't got a spare wheel yet. We've got everything. Yeah, quality of it just looks really good, really nice, well-made carpet. We've got the underlay to go down as well. So what I think I'm going to do is just throw an hour or so. I'm just going to clean the floor. I'm probably going to seal around the panels that need sealing. I've got all these clips, these things to go in. I need to put some rubber bungs over these bits here. But yeah, apart from that, it's pretty much good to go. So let's crack on. So that's the carpet all in. That is the interior of the Range Rover finished. Yeah, really happy with it, actually. I know the seats are pretty threadbare, but there isn't a budget at the moment to replace those. But yeah, the carpet's gone in really nice. I think you'll all agree. I've opted to do my own way of attaching the carpets. Now, I believe there's supposed to be either poppers or some sort of clip, but I didn't have those with the kit. So what I've done is I've actually just put a riv nut in the hole and then just wound in a small bolt with a washer on it. So, I mean, it works, does the job, doesn't look untidy. And it's reversible if I want to replace it. So we've got the sill trims in, we've got the seat base covers in. Really happy with, there's where those screws went. Really happy with how it's come out. Over the moon with it, actually. Then we go around and have a look at the back. It was well worth waiting for. There we go. So still need to put the spare wheel in. Still need to go through and do all the tools. The arch covers, they aren't even stuck down at the moment, so I'm going to get some upholstery adhesive and stick those down. But yeah, so pretty happy with how that's gone. Walking around to the front, the next job that we've got to do, so we're going to do one of the last major jobs we'll be doing on it will be a service. I've managed to track down an original air filter. I've also tracked down an original oil filter. It's really hard to find for these, by the way. And I've got a selection of battery clamps to clamp this down because the one that came with it won't work on that. I've also done the washer system. I don't know if I showed anyone this, but I didn't want to buy the new bottle pump assembly. It's like 100 quid. And this one works. The pump is knackered. I've taken it apart trying to fix it, didn't work. So for like 12 quid on eBay, it's you know, a rip-off of a Bosch one. And a bit of new washer hose, and yeah, it works really well. So I mean, that total cost probably only about 20 quid to fix that whole setup. So pretty happy with that. So I'm going to just sort the battery out, and then we will come back and we will start talking about servicing this big old Mazda engine. Oh, the number plate's on as well. I have got a number plate plinth. I need to go and pick it up from our lovely sponsor, Machine Oil Limited. But at the moment, we are just using a couple of brackets from a fence, just because I need to drive it around locally before I go up to Machine Oil Limited. But there we go. So let's get on and do the battery. Also, you're going to want to stay tuned because something interesting is going to happen towards the end of this episode. I may or I may not have already given you a teaser at the beginning of the video. I don't know. This has been filmed over months and months and months, so stay tuned. Right, pushing on. So we've got the battery clamped down. I bought 2 universal battery clamps and made one out of the 2. So it's pretty much close to OE. It's got these little isolated bushes on, which are nice too. Yeah, really happy with that. It's not going anywhere. So I have just started painting the tow bar bracket, and I've just went down to the hardware store and picked up some high tensile bolts for that. So we'll be able to bolt that back on now. I've just picked up the oil, so I'm going to do an oil and filter change. There's the filter down there. I did get a nice filter, an original one. It wasn't too expensive, so I need to do that. So we're going to do the oil and filter now. The diesel filter, that's fine. That was already new because we put that in. So I'm not too worried about that. And we're also going to do a coolant change as well. So I spoke to Barry. He said it's blue he was always putting in there. So I've got some blue. I don't even know if this stuff looks pretty actually. It's empty. Yep, it's completely empty. So probably shouldn't have been driving that around. But yes, we'll do a coolant change as well. I will come back in a minute and we'll have a look and see what this oil looks like. So we've got the oil draining. I don't know if you can see that under there. Into a bucket, and I've missed it, obviously. The oil filter is off as well. That's located just about there. So that's off. That fell in the bucket too. Got a couple of little relics here. So this is a brand new, never fitted Fleet Guard LF3642. So I guess that's the model you want. But yeah, it's still wrapped in all its plastic and everything like that. Then we've got a new air filter, Cooper's air filter. That's brand new as well. Proper antique stuff, this. So what I'm going to do is just quickly, we'll have a look at this air filter. I mean, I just put it back in here just so I could make it run, but I knew it needed changing. So we'll have a look at it together, see what it looks like. I'll try and angle the camera so you can see. I'm sure you'll all be interested to see the state of this. But I have had it apart before, so I knew it wasn't very good. It was full of sand and just general dust and stuff. So I'll have a little look, see what it looks like, and put the new one in. So, and what I will do is I've got a selection of part numbers from these, so I can make sure that I keep an eye out for them. There we go. Oh look, same one. Cooper's filter AEM2550. What's this one then? This is a doesn't say. It says AZA308, but I mean, I guess they're all the same filter, to be fair. I mean, it's just a cylindrical filter that just goes down with a wing nut, so can't really be very technical, can it? To be honest, you could probably run it without an air filter and it'd be completely fine. There we go. There she is in all her beauty. Not the worst I've seen. Might even keep that. Might be able to clean it out, I don't know. But let's put that there. Let's have a look at our new one, which is this one here. Well, it's the same height. It's ever so slightly slimmer. This is a same make and everything, but yeah, it is ever so slightly thinner, but I'm sure it will fit and do the exact same thing. Let's have a look, shall we? Let's see. Yep, does the exact same thing. So it's just a slightly, to be honest with you, this one actually fits a little bit nicer than the one that I took out. And they are, as you can see, they are the same height as well. So yeah, well, there we go. So if anybody needs to know, you can either fit a Cooper's AEM 2550, or which is also a U09K07, or you can fit this one here, which is a AZA 308, which is good. Oh look, comes with a new little washer as well. There we go. So I'm gonna pop that on there. It's actually that washer there. There you go. Look. Stick that on there. Lovely. Wind it down. I don't think there's a I mean, you could probably find any kind of cylindrical air filter and it'd be exactly the same. Do the same job. It's not a high performance engine by any means. So there we go. Pop you on. I feel like it should have a little rubber seal that goes round between these two surfaces, but I mean, I guess it's not the end of the world. There we go, all done. We'll hang on to the other filter because you never know. That doesn't fit in the box, but yeah, there we go. So we'll install that, and we'll install that new oil filter, put it all together, and then what we're going to do, the reason I've taken everything out here, because I need to do a coolant change. I can't get to the bottom radiator hose without taking the viscous fan off and all the associated pipework. That just sounds like a load of hassle for me. So you've got, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see any of this. I'll try and describe it. I mean, I might be doing it wrong. You can see there, that is the bottom hose that I'm pointing my little finger at there. So that runs all the way here, and then it comes to, if you can see that pipe there, that's like a connector pipe, and it's got an elbow on it. And that's quite a low point. That's actually lower than the radiator. So what we're going to do is we're going to undo that Jubilee clip down there. Try and make it focus. Actually, you can see it now. That little Jubilee clip just down there. So we'll undo that, and then hopefully that'll drain it, and I'll probably stick a hose pipe in through the top of the radiator, and we'll just flush it all through, and then we'll fill her up and bleed her. But yeah, so we'll come back in a minute when I've done all that. Slight issue. I'm sure that one would fit in certain applications. It will not fit in this application. It will not fit between the side of the engine block and the chassis rail. I've tried everything. It will not go. I mean, it would have to be that much smaller to fit in. This one's tight anyway. You can see the size difference between them if I put them. I don't know if that's picking it up very well, but I mean, the height is a big difference. And it's a lot slimmer. So what I've done for now, I'm going to try and find one of these frams. I've rinsed it out. I put a load of petrol in it and swizzled it around, do the best I can. This probably isn't going to be its only oil change in the not so distant future, because I want to run it, give it a good couple of runs and then flush it again, which is what I'm doing with the differentials at the moment, actually, because I've already put some diff oil in the differentials, and I've been driving it around, and then I'm going to flush it and then just put some clean stuff in. But it's always a good thing to do. Never just change the oil on a vehicle that's sat for a while and think it'll be fine. Change it, use some cheap stuff, give it a good ragging about, and then change it again, just peace of mind. So yeah, so we're going to try and track one of these down. Hopefully the Motor Factor sell one. If not, it'd be a good old eBay. Fast forward, the coolant is done. That was a complete headache to do. I replaced those two clips down there when I took that pipe off, wherever it is buried down there. The cooling system was disgusting. It was just rusty water. I drained it into a container, and I've taken that down to the recycle centre, and then I flushed the radiator out and the whole system, and it was just mud, gunk, just rust. I don't know if there was any coolant in there, to be honest with you. I have tried clearing it up, but you can probably see that this whole area is just rusty water staining now. So yeah, so that was yesterday's fun. So that's all done, which is brilliant. What else did I do? I put the rear view mirror in, so that's in now. The next problem is the bonnet catch. So this little thing likes to pop up whenever you go down any kind of bumpy road. Probably just needs adjusting. However, I've just opted to take it out and clean it up. So what I've done is I've taken it and I've cleaned it all up, which I think we'll agree looks really nice. So we've got a really nice free moving catch there, which I'm very happy about. It's all nice and clean. And all I've done is I've greased, as you can see, the areas that have any sliding, that are like a contact surface. So I'm very happy with those. And I've checked that the spring has got enough tension that holds it. So I think providing it's adjusted and we adjust the pin across a little bit, it shouldn't go anywhere. And also make sure that this bonnet, that these stoppers here, I mean, that's about as much use to chocolate teapot, isn't it, to be honest with you? Should probably get rid of them. Make sure this bonnet is adjusted. Off you go. Find a bin for you. Got to make sure that bonnet is adjusted correctly, because if that bonnet rocks at all like that, there's a chance that catch could wiggle and let go. But I'm pretty sure it's actually just an adjustment problem down here, because obviously I took those two support bars out, which are actually what centers and aligns it. But obviously this has been off as well. I've completely freed this off, and you know, there's adjustment there too. So we should get a really nice point there. What I'll do is I'll leave the grill off, put it in, adjust it, take it for a drive. If it pops up, we can just keep adjusting it until it's locked solid. But yeah, so let's see how we go. Right, so we're back from the road test. The bonnet is fine. I have been around the fields, down the farm track, every kind of bumpy road you can imagine. It has not popped up. So I'm happy that that is sorted. Our next problem is when I leave it, if I just reverse it and leave it half on, half off this slope here, it's enough to make it start misfiring after a minute. And then as soon as you level it out, it's fine. So to me, that sounds like fuel starvation, like it's drawing in air. So I know there's no air in the injectors. I know there's no air in the fuel pump, because I've bled it all through and it's fine. So looking at the fuel gauge, we'll see as it should go up and do it in real time here. Come on, wakey wakey. No, it's not doing anything today. That's bizarre. Oh, try starting it up. Is it gonna move? No, it's not gonna move. Okay, so when that fuel gauge does move, it goes right up to the halfway point, and it's never dropped from that point. So I think we've got either a stuck float or a short in there somewhere. It's very bizarre, it's not working today. So what we have done is we've spoken to Famous 4. We've got a few bits. So we've got a new sender unit, which looks slightly different to the one I got in there, but I'm hoping it is the same. We'll find out. New sealing ring and a washer. And then we've also got this lovely thing. That's the original badge for the back. It's a reproduction one, it's not an original because I didn't want to pay 3 times the price. And then we've got a little sticker for the back. So these are the final things to do. So we're going to go do those and then we are done. Right, so she's out and it's nasty. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, I mean, you can see the state of it. Luckily, I've had a torch in the tank. It doesn't look bad. I think we'll be changing the filter on it a couple of times in the future, but it's nothing that's going to stop me from driving it. But yeah, you can see the state of it. It's awful, this thing. Absolutely knackered. It's probably the original one for the car because it's a steel one. But yeah, when you move the float up and down, you can feel it grinding in there. So obviously, this has been the problem. And I think there is a pinhole halfway up it as well. Maybe just about there. I don't know, a load of diesel poured out at that point there. So I don't think it's a bad thing. We're changing it anyway, so we'll change it and we'll see if we get a decent fuel level, because I can't imagine that that was doing a very good job. Well, that's the fuel sender in, if you can see just in there. So pretty happy with that. It works really well. Fuel gauge goes straight to the top first time. Next thing we're going to do is stick the stickers on, so we'll do that. I'm sure someone will tell me it's in the wrong place, but I don't care. I'm going to put it just there. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Well, there we go. That is the final episode on the restoration of the Suffix A. What a long way this thing has come since the first day I bought it. I never thought it was going to take me 2 years from buying it to finishing it. It took almost exactly 1 year to the day to get it on the road and driving. I think it was 364 days. By far my biggest mistake was repairing that tailgate. I should have just bought a new one. But yeah, let's just take a minute just to have a look around it again and just, you know, see how far this has come. I know there's bits that could be done on it, but it's just perfect to me. I just need to go get the tracking done. But it drives all right without the tracking done. It's just been done by eye. But there we have it. Looking forward to enjoying the summer with this, actually. Planning on doing the North Coast 500 with it, just for a bit of fun. And I'm in Dorset, so that's not round the corner, so that will be a very big drive. But yeah, over the moon with it. Absolutely over the moon with it. It's just come out just how I pictured it. It really has. Not over restored, but clean and usable. It's got 329,000 miles on this car. And it looks like you can see every single mile on that paintwork, which is exactly what I wanted. Nice little new by Range Rover badge. Quite happy with that. Not an original, but still. There we go. It's all done. Thanks everyone for watching the whole series. I really couldn't have done it without the support from a lot of the regular people that watch the channel. And yeah, if you want to see anything else done to this, by all means let me know. If you think it should be repainted, let me know. If you think it should have a V8 in it, just tell me, because I'm always interested to hear. But there we go. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for sticking around to the end of this video. Hopefully it was worth it for all of you. Yeah, see you later.